It is Election Day, a day which in functional democracies mean you know the winner, loser and every other detail within hours of the polls closing. But rather than focusing in on petty details like that, let's look at something truly out of this world, namely leading Hollywood industry trade, Deadline Hollywood's take on the winners and losers where media coverage of the election is concerned, as well as Elon Musk revealing the real reason why so many celebrities feel so strongly about endorsing Kamala that they can't even do it without reading the words of a screen.
1 second, guys. 1 second. Sorry, guys. I'm a little nervous. I need patience over here. Thank you. All right.
If you can't even speak to why you endorse somebody without a detailed script in front of you, are you really endorsing them? Let's find out. Before we get into Elon Musk exposing just why so many celebrities endorse Kamala and why those endorsements, without exception, are so vapid and void of any good arguments, let's take a look into the Hollywood machine that actively promotes this madness. The Hollywood elite, which is closely linked to the elite of the Democrat Party, broadcasts news and the, at any time, acceptable views through the industry trades, of which Deadline Hollywood is one of the more prominent. And Deadline Hollywood just declared for all of Hollywood to see who is the media winners and losers of this election cycle, regardless of the actual outcome. This article from one Dominic Patton lets everyone know the acceptable attitudes on these matters, and it may be the single most deranged article I have ever seen from the entertainment media complex, and that is saying a lot. It begins with declaring the best talking head, and here the winner is declared to be Charlemagne the God. You know, the guy who, during the previous cycle, famously didn't bat an eye when Biden told him and everyone else of his black audience listening that if they didn't vote for him, they weren't black. The guy who only last week expressed the belief that he has as big a reach as Joe Rogan.
You serious?
When even a cursory glance should tell everyone that it's more akin to Tim Pool. That guy. Anyway, about him, Deadline Hollywood writes, winner Charlemagne the God. That Comedy Central show may not have worked out, but the Breakfast Club co-host truly spoke truth to power this election season, repeatedly. From warning Americans against what could happen after Election Day, Joe Biden's electoral and cultural shortcomings, and the burning desire out there in a divided nation for less jargon and more straight talk. The Get Honest or Die Lying, Why Small Talk Sucks author was way ahead of the curve. In piercing on-air interviews with Kamala Harris and RNC boss Laura Trump, Charlemagne owned the curve, calling out CNN's bullshit, spouting Anderson Cooper and the mainstream media in late October for not putting a glaring spotlight on the real fascist dangers of a Trump return to the White House. The CAA-repped Charlemagne had one of the defining media moments of the modern era.
You serious?
CAA, of course, is the biggest talent agency, which in turn means that Charlemagne is beholden to the Hollywood elite and establishment. No unsanctioned opinions allowed. That just might have something to do with him being picked the winner. Plus, he held CNN accountable for not having been sufficiently critical of Trump in their coverage. Hollywood evidently likes that. But if Deadline Hollywood declares him the winner of this election cycle, then who is the loser? Well, that would be Joe Rogan. You know, the biggest podcast in the world and in history. The podcast that is so popular that Spotify has compared each new episode to a new Taylor Swift album dropping. The guy who has been proven to have been right on pretty much every take that ran counter to that of the establishment in the last few years, and who recently had 3-hour conversations with both Trump, J.D. Vance, and most recently, as we shall see here, Elon Musk. This is whom Deadline Hollywood declares the media loser, saying, among other things, Rogan formally endorsed the Republican he once called a man-baby late last night. Maybe the fix was in, and that's why Rogan petulantly shunned an interview with Harris last week. The VP's team wanted Rogan to meet her on the campaign trail to record the podcast and was offering an hour. Rogan wanted to do it in Austin and get 3 hours. In the end, he got nothing. I mean, dude, why didn't you take the win? Maybe you never wanted to. Maybe time to lay off the bison for a bit. It's gone to your brain. Okay, what Deadline is saying here is, hey Rogan, why didn't you compromise your format and your integrity just so you could talk to a Kamala surrounded by aides who would shut the whole thing down the moment you got into a real conversation? Or if you fact-checked one of her numerous over-the-top lies? And even if you were to comply with all restrictions, you'd still only get 45 minutes. This is how you know Deadline Hollywood isn't an actual news outlet, but rather an apparatchik for the Hollywood and therefore Democrat establishment, void of any journalistic integrity whatsoever. On that note, they also declared MSNBC and Rachel Maddow the TV winner, with the loser being every other network, and they awarded warhawk and neocon Liz Cheney the best surrogate, and comedian Tony Hinchcliffe the worst. Then, in another mask-off moment, they declared the TDS-afflicted Mark Cuban the winning billionaire, and seemingly by default, because all they have to say about him is, the eminently unlikable former Dallas Mavericks owner proved a true shark in the 2024 election. Putting on some glasses and bringing down the volume a bit, Cuban reinvented himself as a self-depreciating and stats-sharp surrogate for Harris. Got to give the man his due. Unsurprisingly, given the overall tone of this article, Deadline Hollywood declares Elon Musk the losing billionaire, saying, Twitter is now worth about 80% less than when the government-subsidized SpaceX chief bought it for $44 billion in late 2022, and the one-time global town hall is now foolishly called X. Here, it might be worth mentioning that $44 billion price tag was arbitrary and inflated, and not based on any kind of performance track record, meaning, in terms of monetary value, Twitter was never worth anywhere near $44 billion. Its true value was as a means of controlling conversation. Musk replaced that with free speech, thus putting himself on the top of the shit list. Deadline Hollywood continues, still dumb names aside, the world's richest man has the right to play with his plaything even if Twitter has turned into a disinformation dung heap. That's code for that actual truth and accurate description of reality are now flourishing, but since that is most inconvenient for the interests that Deadline Hollywood serves, they resort to the tried and true Soviet practice of labeling unacceptable truths as disinformation. And now it is Deadline Hollywood that distorts the truth to the point that what they say become actual disinformation. He owns it, he can break it. However, joking about someone taking a shot at Harris with Tucker Carlson, another 2024 loser by the way, literally buying off voters with 1 million checks and ranting about illegal immigration while avoiding some hard facts about his own entry into the country. The South African-born Musk did neither himself nor Trump any favors. Not so smart to be bouncing up and down for Trump at rallies like a 6-year-old who broke into the pantry and got his hands on the entire box of sugar-packed Lucky Charms, and donating nearly $200 million to a Trump super PAC, while ignoring the ex-POTUS dismissive attitude to allies once they outlive their usefulness. Even with all that, the lack of a real response from the billionaire to reports that the security clearance-privileged Musk has been chatting regularly with Vladimir Putin separated the men from the boys and sealed his fate, regardless of who wins. I don't even know where to begin with that. But I will say that this article is made on behalf of the same interests that force celebrities into making disingenuous endorsements, the details of which Elon Musk just exposed on Rogan.
It's so strange watching all these Hollywood celebrities like step up, like, and they think it's going to get them more movies or something. Like, that's what it is. If you know those people, so many of them are just complete narcissists.
Well, let me tell you how it actually works. There is what happens is, these celebrities they get a call. Okay, they get a call from someone powerful in Hollywood, and that person says, it'd be really great if you endorsed Kamala. You don't have to. It's up to you. But if you don't, they don't say it. But if you don't, you're just never going to get a call again. No more movies, no more concerts. But they'll ask it. They'll ask in a really nice way. It'd be really nice if you endorse Kamala. This is important.
And so they don't say that if you don't.
They don't make the threat. They don't need to. But everyone knows what'll happen if you don't.
Well, I think there's also, even if they don't think that something's going to happen to them, if they don't, there's this compelling feeling to support this cause that you think is going to get you a bunch of positive attention. And you're going to be on the right side of history, and all these narratives that you, especially from the left in Hollywood, like they're all in on whoever the fuck is the Democrat, always, 100%. There's never a call from the Hollywood machine to support any Republicans. I've never seen it once.
Yeah, never.
So it's like you realize that, and that whole business is based on getting picked. It's the whole business is not necessarily merit-based. There's a lot of brilliant actors you never hear from. There's a lot of people who can do that, but they don't get chosen for roles, and everybody knows this, that you have to sort of socialize.
You toe the line or you don't get chosen for the roles, because there's a lot of competition for the roles. That's why I say, like, when someone powerful in Hollywood who's able to choose these roles calls one of these celebrities, they know the deal.
Yeah.
There's no threat is necessary.
Well, you could see it in real time, like with Dennis Quaid when he made that Reagan movie, and they wouldn't let him advertise on social media platforms.
Yeah.
Like, they were banning ads for it.
Yeah.
For what? Because it was an election year. Like, what are you talking about? This is about a guy who's dead.
Yes.
The guy who was the president a long ass time ago. Like, what do you? How does this have anything to do with the election year?
Yeah.
But it's the punishment. It's like you stepped outside the line. You supported the other guy.
Yeah. The problem is you'll just never get a call again for a movie or concert or whatever it is.
Yeah, which is crazy.
That's the issue.
Let's leave the deranged deadline Hollywood behind and instead focus on the real media losers, namely every single celebrity that endorsed Kamala Harris. From the Avengers to Beyoncé, who didn't even sing, to Cardi B, who couldn't even endorse without narrating a script. Whoever wins the election, the media losers, the ones exposed to have no integrity, are the celebrities giving in to tacit blackmail. Let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments.